Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. We are broadcasting live from the state-of-the-art studios here in Round Rock, Texas. I'm sitting here with Lewis Roth from GraceNotes.info, and he's going to be the guest on our show tonight. Lewis, say hi, prove you're here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Man, you are show 106.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted you to know that. We started this gig 3 years ago. We actually started out, Lewis, on a Windows server back,
Oh,
and streaming through that. But then when Hangouts came along, we
yeah.
just said, let's just move it over there. What the heck? So we're sitting here tonight. We're getting ready to start talking to gracenotes.info. We're going to talk a little bit about the website, but we're going to get into some of the different ministries, how they're supported, what the future projects look like. And so we're going to spend some time getting to know Lewis tonight and a little bit about um, what they're trying to accomplish as a ministry. And I think it's pretty awesome what you do, just so you know that. Okay.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing, if you're a first time listener to the show, I want to back up a little bit, Lewis. I have to do this every week. What we do is we cut the cameras. I'm used to being radio broadcast type guy, so we just do this as an outbound radio show, and we broadcast that on G Plus and YouTube. So if you're checking in on the link right now, you're listening to us on audio. I'm not opening up the Q&A tonight because I don't have somebody to monitor the questions. That we'll be talking and we'd never see them. So if you just happen to be checking this out, we hope you stick around. Hey, but here's the great thing. We know, Lewis, from experience in this arena, that most people like to listen to content on their own time, right?
Sure.
So after the show's over, I go out and make sure that you get for your company a custom link and an embed code, and I build a custom player for you and add all our sponsors links so people can support local Austin business, but they'll get links straight to your website. We'll put a billboard on there. We'll make it match up with the colors that you're anticipating on your site. But the cool thing is you're going to get your own custom player, and once it's on YouTube, people can listen to it on the way to work if they want. Just get on their cell phones, go to my channel, and click the latest show, and there you go. Listen to me driving down the road.
Sounds good.
Doesn't that sound good? All right, so I've got like 10 sponsors,
Okay.
and sponsors, they know that they sponsor 20 shows. I have 10 great Austin businesses. We're going to have links, their pictures, and links on the custom player directly to the website. However, please go over to Facebook on Hurdy Burke Broadcast Network. Type that in, Hurdy Burke, HURDIEBURK Broadcast Network. There's a group page there with all the shows. Just go click and add yourself, and I'll make sure you get, when you join, I'll make sure to add you to the group. We'd love to have you. And you can also visit, you're on the link right now to my YouTube channel. And if you're listening in on the YouTube channel, that direct link is straight to the YouTube channel. Just save that in your browser, save it in your bookmarks, and come back and join us. So here we go. My first sponsor, I think you know this guy, Danielle Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle Smith is a certified John Maxwell coach, guerrilla marketing coach, is an avid reader. He's a great executive coach. He works not only with individuals, he works with groups through webinars. He's got some cool products. The one thing he's been offering is a mastermind group. It's like 12 weeks where people can go through personal growth, business growth, and stop wasting handshakes. So he's got a lot of cool stuff. So here's what I want you guys to do. Go check out Danny L. Smith, one word, DannyLSmith.com. Go check out his website. All the other pages are there you can go check out. And that's our first sponsor tonight. We're getting ready to jump on with Lewis because this is his show tonight. And let's give a round of applause to our first sponsor. Thank you, Danny. And his better half sitting here laughing at us.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay, so
She does that a lot.
before we get into your questions, right,
Right.
I want to know, and I'm going to minimize this, I want to know a little bit about you.
Okay.
And this is how we introduce our first 10 minutes or so of the show. We like to tie it up with, where are you originally from?
I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, what a terrible place.
I know.
Yeah, gosh.
Until you learn how to ski.
Is that where they have the balloon festival?
It is. Yep. 5 in the morning if you're willing to endure the cold temperatures.
What time of year is that? That's about right now. Was
It's
that
about right now.
About right now, right?
Yeah,
and hundreds.
hundreds.
But it's cool.
especially at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And yeah, and have you
Now,
ever ridden in one?
no, most of us just go outside at 9 and just watch them.
And was watching. Hopefully, don't crash and burn. And I
Well,
know there.
they do.
I know. There's
They,
been a few.
yeah, they do that.
Okay, so Albuquerque. And how did you end up in Austin, or what places have you been?
Okay.
Have you you're a
Well,
world traveler?
no, not well. Actually, I have traveled around the world, but not for business.
Right.
My mother is actually from Buenos Aires, and so when her mother died, we lived down there 7 months.
Okay.
So I saw Tierra del Fuego. I saw good chunks of Peru. We drove from Peru all the way to Bolivia, and then flew
Yeah.
on Bolivian Airlines back to Buenos Aires. That was kind of
Gosh, you
interesting.
guys sound like the Sundance Kids. Remember?
That's right.
Rich
Yeah.
Cassie and Sundance Kids did that too,
Right.
but the old way.
Yeah. So I started in Albuquerque. My first
Yeah.
job, I got a degree in computer science, University of New Mexico.
We've been talking about computers before we started the show. Yep.
Right. And so I got my first job there. I actually did what do they call that, work study thing in college. So
Yeah.
that helped.
Yep.
Then from there, I went down to Las Cruces, worked
Uh-huh.
down the military range, did software there.
Yep.
And from there, I went to Fort Worth,
Oh, cool.
worked for General Dynamics.
Oh, you did.
And
Was that part of your computer science
it was
background? Working at
still
General
programming.
Dynamics.
Yep.
Okay.
Fortunately, they were lying to the Navy, so that was the end of that for me.
They were what?
Lying to the Navy, but billing falsely.
Really?
So I ended up, yeah, so I ended up in Houston,
Okay.
and I worked for a laboratory information system. I worked for those guys probably 5 years, and then I went from them to work for a contractor for NASA.
Right.
I did such things as making sure that the shuttle bay doors can't be open on reentry.
That's a good thing.
It's a good thing. And I also, before I left, I wrote the software to route all the commands to the Russian MCC anytime that you couldn't see the space station because it was on a different part.
So
the globe.
this way you knew it was still present and accounted
Right.
for.
So it was, yeah. That way you could do stuff, control it. And then I got a job with BMC in Austin. And that's how I got here to Austin.
And so, but the cool thing is you've done all this business side with these big corporations, all this software,
Yep,
this NASA stuff, but somehow you've managed to mosey over into your ministry,
we did.
right? So when did that all start?
About 2 years ago, I started to do the pastor in training at Austin Bible. And our curriculum is Grace Notes.
Right.
That's one of our curriculums. We have to go do the first 8 units. And so I did the first 4.
Right.
I was looking at other ministries. Child evangelism was one. And then this Grace Notes. The guy is 83 years old, the one who founded Grace Notes 20 years ago. And he wanted some help because he's got a lot of manual stuff going on there. And my computer background, and the fact that I've got an associate's
in software and in code, and you know all that. Okay.
Well, an associate's at Grace Notes.
Right.
So, I was a good fit, seemed like. And so that's how I got started doing the Grace Notes.
That's cool. And awesome. Now, before we get into that, because I'm going to ask you what that's all about, I always ask some fun trick questions.
Okay.
So, favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. Okay. And last band you listened to live, what concert did you go to? Remember?
Yeah. Apologetics, I think.
Okay. And
you know who they are?
No.
You never heard of them? Oh, they're a Christian rock
Well,
band.
that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I know who they are. Was that here local in one of the churches, or was that the big?
No, we saw them at the Round Rock Convention Center. Or
Yeah. Okay.
over there by
Cedar
McNeil
Park.
High School.
Oh no, McNeil. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, that's where we saw them.
All right. And favorite genre of music? What do you like mainly? If you were to turn on the radio, what would you be automatically drawn to? Rock. Classic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Christian classic rock's pretty cool too.
Yeah, the Apologetics copies all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
They redo all that stuff.
Metallica with an A.
Well,
not quite
not Metallica.
Not quite Metallica. Okay, that's fine.
I grew up listening to Beatles.
We all did.
Right. Everyone has
me
to
and
go
you,
through a Beatles stage. Yeah, you have to go through your Beatles stage.
Yeah.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Right.
Some of that.
Right. Led Zeppelin,
Foreigner.
Right. Grateful Dead.
Yeah, some of that.
Grand Funk.
Kiss.
Three Dog Night.
A few
Journey.
Maybe 2 Kiss songs. Yeah, Journey.
Boston. My favorite.
That first album.
One of my and the only one.
Yeah,
they killed us with a great one.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they couldn't.
We could do a music show tonight if you want.
We could. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Asia. Yep. I know.
That's more of my sisters.
Yeah. And then the real bands back in the '60s, people didn't know that we were going through Herman Hermits, the Turtles.
Turtles,
You
yeah.
remember all those guys, the Mama and the
Mama and the
Papas,
Papas, we listened to.
and Queen.
Yeah,
Queen came later, but Queen was still good. So
Queen
we've
was so
got
good.
all these
I didn't know
cool.
what Queen meant back
And you know
then.
what? All the kids today still listen to all that classic rock. You know what I'm saying? They still
Yeah,
love it. It's still that timeless and good. I don't think we'll ever see a music era and have the kind of music that came out. I mean, kids love the new stuff that's out today, but they still like to revert back. There's just some of the best
yeah. I'd
music.
say there was a dead spot, like 76,
There was,
76
there
to
was. Yeah,
79,
it just kind of all died
until the Jay Giles
with all
band
the
came.
lead singers for all the rock bands because they killed themselves. That
Yeah,
didn't
but
help either,
but you
did it?
remember Jay Giles band came, and then stuff
Yeah,
started to pick
yeah,
up after
yeah,
that.
yeah. Full disco.
My freeze frame and well, girl is a centerfold or
Boy
whatever.
George.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So
Okay, so we know
anyhow, we're going
music.
to talk. It's your show tonight. Hey, this is how we introduce them, so you guys can tell we're going to have some fun tonight.
That's
So,
right.
all right. So let's get into your questions because we really want to nail down what this ministry is all about and how cool this is. So, what is Grace Notes?
Grace Notes is a collection of information. Is the best way. The founder started this 20 years ago, and so he collected some of his own studies and he put them online, and so people could do email lessons back and forth. Well, he found some pastors who actually wrote out everything, all their lessons, and so over the last 20 years, he's accumulated information on 50 of the 66 books of the Bible. So it's been a hard road. You know, it's difficult to get it all ready and do the questions. So Grace Notes is also the questions. It's also someone looking at your information and grading it. For instance, I do prison ministry, taking
Yeah,
over
we're
that
going to
part of
talk. I
it.
want to talk about that in a little bit too.
And so I'll look at the questions. You know, those guys have a lot of strange ideas they picked up, and it's just kind of nice to gently put them in the right direction. Like, you know, don't make being saved so difficult. You know, it really, yeah, you can't earn it anyway, so stop trying, right? But you know, and they need help. In fact, we have a great success story. Well, there's a church in Brenham that is helping a guy in the prison in Florida. How they got hooked up, I'm not sure. Uh, but they're actually calling. They're talking every day, and his curriculum is Grace Notes, and they're hoping that he becomes a light in the prison.
For
And
those
so,
folks.
right, and I know later we'll get into the
Yep, I want to get into details how
the
you got
details.
into that and all that stuff too.
You know, the Grace Notes advantage is what he's getting, this
Right.
gentleman, and so he's well grounded. You know, when you go through Grace Notes, you'll hear stuff, even in our meetings on Fridays. You know,
Yep, you talk about
and
it.
you'll go, I don't know.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah,
So,
you know, so you get picky.
so are they open to the public? Is there a website people can go to and check it out?
www.gracenotes.info. There is absolutely nothing to buy on that website.
You just go
But
and click
you
through
can
all
get
you want.
you can get all you want.
So a free site of information and
Right.
tools and everything, right?
There's never a charge for spiritual maturity.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And so
Everything.
do you manage that for that? How do you oversee the whole gracenotes.info
I do.
infrastructure? Is that
I'm not the
okay?
webmaster, but
But you look at the information,
the overall plan. The good news, you know, I didn't write it. It's been there a long time.
right? You're just trying to keep it
And the
organized.
founder is still developing new curriculum. Mostly right now, what I'm doing is just trying to get the word out and get people to start using this wonderful information.
Sure.
It's a very deep way of looking at the information. I guess we'll look
All
at
sorts of opinions. We'll talk about
we'll
that
talk about that
further
in a
down.
while.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it takes time, and that's really where people have an issue. But as far as, you know, small groups,
Pick a topic and run with it.
I know that some pastors use it for their, you know, midweek study.
Sure.
There's, you know, it's only in English, and yet there's a guy in the Philippines who uses it for studying. There's a guy in Pakistan who uses it for studying, and we'll get to Africa. That all exploded long before I came on the scene. But when they got free, they latched on that, and you know, and no one gets. So there's a lot of people who learn, go to seminary, and they don't get this information. They really don't go that deep.
I understand that.
They don't go this deep, especially not in places like Africa and in those places. They just, you know, push them out the door.
And
say,
if you're getting worldwide opinions on this based on culture, there's probably a lot of different things and belief systems within the system.
Yep.
You know, and you're right. There's and I know a little bit about seminary, but I'm saying that I do understand.
Yep.
I used to say if you go to seminary, you might come out an atheist. Be really careful.
That's possible.
But I don't mean that bad. But I mean they put you such they put you through so much training to doubt and to look at what you really believe and
No,
figure
sure.
out, you know what I'm saying? It's just intellectual stuff, right? But that's cool. All right. So we've talked a little bit about you.
Okay.
Okay. We got your color. We got your bands down. We almost had a music
We
show
almost had a music show. Yep.
unintentionally, which is cool. So what we talked about the reach of it, but let's get a little bit more detailed geographically. How it reaches out the whole world, I suppose, right? I know
That's
it's in
right.
English, but people can translate that, right,
They
and
can.
take it on and convert their
Um,
website. Isn't there a way to just convert an English site to another foreign language by clicking on a button nowadays, or is that
well,
it's not that easy? But
no, it's
there,
not that
okay,
easy. We actually there are translations in Swahili,
Swahili,
and yeah, because
okay,
they paid someone $5 a sheet to do it.
that's cool.
And
Wow,
there's another Indian language in South Africa that they're doing some conversion. So we don't mind people doing it. We're looking forward to an Urdu translation next year. That'll probably take 3 years, just to give you an idea. That's just unit one.
right.
It's but you get the doctrine modules, and so you get some solid foundation. In fact, most of the topics there, you see me blogging every couple of days. I just take it,
Just take one and run with it.
I say run with it, convert all the links to
What is
Bible
the blog?
Gateway.
What is your blog? Did you know off the top of your head?
Yes, it's gracenotesblog.info, I believe.
Okay, Grace
But
Notes.
you can get to it off the director's blog, off
Okay,
the
so
main
go to
website. Info,
gracenotes.info and then click on,
the director's blog,
and that's you.
and that's me. Yeah.
Okay, so click on the director's blog and
And
then go check out. So you pick a topic and then just run with it on your blog.
yeah, I was just curious to see what people are interested in. So far, the number one click thing is depression.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah,
We live in
and
that kind of world.
edification, which is learning more
You
about
know,
the
it hadn't
word.
changed a lot. You know, that's been probably a pretty popular topic for a lot of
And,
years.
we
You
were
know,
talking before the show. There's a whole sentence they're looking for: Christian view of depression.
right?
And I'm just tickled that they picked this up. They're picking our site, they're picking that WordPress blog up, and reading about what the Bible says about depression.
That's pretty cool.
Which you shouldn't be depressed, but anyway.
Well, but you can be.
Yeah, you
You know,
can
there's
be.
things that drag you down in life,
Yeah,
right? All right. So geographically, it's wide open.
I would say our biggest concentration is probably Africa. There's thousands of there's
People reaching
thousands of
out.
people reaching out. I mean, and think about it, the really neat thing is that you got these guys that are training their people with Grace Notes, and so once they have this, and we'll talk about the advantage later.
Hmm.
Once you have all this historical view and looking at the categories and all this, I mean, wow, you better get out there and teach.
So you got gracenotes.info as the website. Is it a full-fledged set up as a nonprofit organization, or how is it designated?
We're Austin Bible Church is our nonprofit umbrella
Okay, so you got a 501c3,
through
but
them.
through
Yeah,
them, it's the umbrella
yeah,
over this site. So you're operating under that. So
we are.
if donations come in as a 501c3, people can write them off, but
That's correct.
but it goes through what church?
Austin Bible Church.
Austin Bible Church, and then it gets
Yeah.
forwarded into
Actually, you just write
y'all's
Grace Notes.
budget for your
Right.
site,
You just
correct?
write the check to Grace Notes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And it still goes in under the
Right.
umbrella, so
That's
they
good.
know where to put it.
Yeah, and they'll get credit for it on their
So,
taxes.
and the reason I say that at the beginning of the show is because if people want to support this after they go look at the website, gracenotes.info, they're going to want to know how that works, right? And it is a 501c3 designation, and that's generally what a church is, right?
That's right.
And then that money gets written, checks get written out to Grace Notes, and then the church is the umbrella over y'all as one piece of that budget. So that's pretty cool.
Right. And there's a PayPal account.
And you can pay on PayPal.
Yeah.
Either way, go donate.
That's
Because
right.
if you believe in supporting ministries, and you want to find one and you're not really sure where you want to put your money and you know it's going to good work, I know a lot of people that would rather give in the Christian realm directly to an organization as opposed to the whole church. You know, I mean, it's just a preference. It's just
Right.
a personal preference for folks. But you know, this might be a good one for you to know that you're not only supporting the church, but you're supporting Grace Notes too, which is kind of cool.
Right.
All right, so I want to get into length about this because I've always been intrigued about this. I have a buddy in Alabama
Okay.
that rides a nice big Harley I grew up with. He's bald. He looks mean, but his whole effort is the prison ministry.
Oh, okay.
His name's Alan Scott. I'm going to actually send you a link to him on Facebook and let y'all connect because
Okay,
he's a great
great.
guy. Okay.
All right.
And so tell me, how do you get into a prison ministry?
Right now, it's word of mouth. The whole business of going through a chaplain, and then you have to write to the chaplain. Please tell your prisoners that are coming to you. Please tell them about us. I mean, you can't just send something to the prison.
No, it's not
No,
like you send a LinkedIn invitation, right?
and but you want to go in there because the places are very dark.
Yeah,
I've tried to approach Chuck Colson's late Chuck Colson his
right. That's
ministry.
where he was.
Please put our name on. Please put our name as our niche is we're not college because you don't need to know Greek and
Yeah,
Hebrew, but it's every bit as good
yeah,
what you'll get.
yeah. That's awesome. And so, how far along have you been working in the prison ministry? And give me a typical how that works
Okay,
in a typical scenario.
everything we mail. We mail for instance, someone will write us a letter, and they'll tell us all the stuff. How long they've been a
What's going
believer,
on?
yeah, what's
Right.
believing, all that. And so we start them off on some lessons. They do the work.
Yep.
They send us the answers back. I'll look at them, grade them, put a few comments if it's appropriate, and send them the next lesson. They get to keep their lesson material forever and ever. And like in California, there is a chaplain who does. I don't want to say push us, but just get students
Yep.
going. And those guys once they've gone through the first unit, I would say you're able to teach most things uh, just with the way we do things, and you'll know all about salvation and substitution. I mean, by then you've got all that stuff. Uh, Now, yeah, so it's unit 2. You get to Romans and Ephesians. I always we hope people get to the second unit because
Yeah.
Romans and Ephesians are such important books.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
And so and
So
so and so
back and forth, and they get a certificate when they finish a lesson series or a unit.
and so they can just keep
Keep
having these delivered with comments to show there's interaction and
Yeah.
sharing, and that's your touch point, right?
Right.
Is sort of, I'm not going to call it a pen pal, but in a sense, it's information
Mm.
with response back. So you're in most of this prison ministry. Then is direct, is sending lessons
Right.
and then sending back and talking with them and figuring out what they're trying to say between the lines and
Right.
working with
Now
them, right?
we've gotten a little creative with this church in Brenham. As we said, okay, send your stuff to them. Let your pastor look at it, and then they'll email me and say he's ready for the next lesson. I mean, that's even more powerful.
Yeah,
Now you've got your pastor looking at it, talking. I mean,
that
Diamond
wants to
Yulon
be
pastor.
involved. So
There's
he's now.
something about talk. I mean, you can do grace notes, but there's something about discussing
Oh,
the stuff.
absolutely, just like we're
Yeah,
doing right
that's
now,
even
right?
better.
You'd
Right.
rather read it, you'd rather hear it,
You need
and
to read it. I mean, the Bible is meant to be read.
right.
Um, but just talking about what you read is super.
Yeah, means a lot.
And so
Personal
we're
experience.
hoping we get more pastors online that want to do that. Work with these guys and put leaders in there that can be a light in these very dark areas of the prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
You
dark.
think?
Yeah, I mean, you see Islam, everybody else, and just the whole
Yeah.
violence and everything else in
Yep.
there.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Those guys really want to have to make a change, I suppose.
And the ones that really want to
Do a good
move
job of it,
along,
and
we're there.
that's great. That's what it's
It's
all
just
about.
hard for them to
You
know
know,
we
it's
exist.
yeah, and I think special people are called to that because I think it takes a special breed of person to
Right.
be gifted to be in that arena. I know Alan's been working with them a long time, a friend in Alabama, and he just lives and dies by the
Oh, good.
prison ministries that they work with. And I'll get him in touch with you guys. He might like this Grace Notes thing, and I'll send him
So does
a
he work
link.
with all the Alabama
He
prisons?
does. It works all over. I'm gonna send
Mississippi,
him.
that area?
I'm gonna send him
Okay.
this and send him a copy of this show, and then when it's over, and we'll get you two connected. Okay, he's a cool guy.
So we should probably talk about actually the way the lessons are formatted then.
Yeah. So what
It's a
is
good
yeah?
break.
So what is that? Let's stop for a minute because unfortunately I got to pay the light bill,
There you go.
and that light bill is my sponsors want to be mentioned,
Do I
and
know
I
him
don't
too?
blame them. Now they all know that I can't get to every single one of them, or the whole show would be mentioning them. But the sponsors are on their own custom link right at the end of the show, and so the awesome thing about that is we do want people, when you're listening to the Great Snows broadcast, to make sure on that player you go click our small Austin business and support them, buy their services, because they are awesome. Now I just added a really cool new sponsor called County Line and Equestrian, which is a horse training center over boarding center in Hutto, right off Lewis Hennet. I mean, Gaddy School Road
Sure.
turns into rural route 138 across the bridge on tollway. They have beautiful, beautiful boarding for horses, big, wide open fields. Judy Gibney runs that. She's a professional rider. But the cool thing I liked was is that, horses get spooked when they hit limbs. They go over bridges, and so they have a whole obstacle course for training horses before they're ridden, so they don't get spooked and hurt the person riding them. So they'll teach them how to walk through limbs,
Oh, okay.
through things hanging down and hitting them, so they don't get spooked. And she's a trainer. But they have great boarding facilities. Like in the summer, they have big fans on each of the stalls. They've got huge ventilation. They've got areas where they can feed them the vitamins through the deal. So it's just, and it's real clean. And they brush these horses. They put them out. They even
Uh,
watch the weather so closely to know exactly what temperature is going to be, and all this, so the horses are fully protected. They don't get caught in a storm, don't get struck by lightning. It's just really cool. So go check out County Line uh, Equestrian. That's one word.com. And if you have a horse and you live around this area and you want to go place to board it for a while, if you're going out of town or traveling and you don't want it to just stand around, go check these guys out.
so you can
Okay.
rent horses there too, right?
I don't know if you can rent them, but she's got enough to ride. You can go over and see her anytime, and that's a great place to bring kids
Sure.
and church organizations. She loves to go through and bring people out. You just got to set up a time with her, schedule it. So you guys go check her out, and that's kind of a unique sponsor for me.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be talking about Equestrian Horse Center, but the cool thing is, love to have her, and thank you again. Now back to you. So we are back. We are with, if you just happen to tune in with us, we are with Lewis Roth with Grace Notes, and the website is www.gracenotes.info. Go check it out. It's deep, deep, deep. I had a brief opportunity to look at it this weekend and was amazed at the amount of information on that site. You could spend a
Appreciate it.
lifetime on there and not get through all of it. I'm
Probably not. Yeah.
probably darn sure, and you can just you can just go down, you can just pick one thing and go into some pretty good talks and discussions.
Right.
So
Right.
now, the thing I wanted to ask you is how does, you've got the question, you worded it, and this is from our crack production staff.
Right.
That's
Right.
you. Okay. You have, does Grace Notes replace the church?
That's when you talk to some pastors, you can see they kind of like afraid people are going to start
Roll
staying
their,
home.
yeah.
Yeah, they roll their eyes, and I've talked to some, they go, I would never think that. And we actually have two topics that pretty clearly state that we believe the pastor is ordained by God to be the leader, shepherd of that flock, and you need to be with your assigned shepherd so you can be fed. I mean, we don't do that.
There's not fellowship in notes.
No, there's not fellowship in
There's
those.
not gathering in notes.
Uh,
There, that would, seems like to me that'd be a good supplement, that they
exactly.
complement each other.
Oh,
You
I
get the
think
best of
so.
both worlds, right?
I think the sermon is enhanced if you kind of know what he's talking about already. Um,
I agree.
that's what I think. I mean, uh, I like going deep personally. Not, and there's other people that want to do it too. And this is something else that churches, if you think about it, you can sit in church and you'll hear a sermon every week for about 40 minutes.
Yep.
Well, how much do you think you get? What if you have a burning question in your mind and you're in one of these mega churches? Well,
And
I
you
don't
don't
know.
write it down. You
Yeah,
out of sight,
I
out
don't
of
know who you're
mind
going to ask.
by the time you leave, right?
But you could do one of these and you'll have questions you weren't ready to ask yet.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I remember reading this and go, why didn't anybody tell me this before?
Right.
There's just things that like I thought there was no answer to these things. It's there. There it is. And that's why I said, just jumped right into Grace Notes because there's a lot of questions that I had that no one really had answers, or you could just tell they were just winging it. They didn't know the answer either. And so, you go through Grace Notes and you look at the way we do things, which is, so we get into that now. We look. There's different things that we do. You look at a lesson, okay, and we kind of look at the syntax. We look at the tenses, and so
Hmm.
that way you don't have to like read the English version and start your own religion. You can you look at you can look at what the Greek says, and you get a pretty clear idea. I mean, that's why I like NASB Bible because it follows the Greek and the Hebrew pretty closely. Um, and so you look at those tenses. You look at the words. Let's say charisma.
Hmm.
Okay, let's look at that word charisma, and because it's not used the same way in the English language.
Hmm.
So it is important to look at some of those Greek words and just delve into it, and sometimes look at other places where that word's used, so you get an idea of how it's used, and go,
Sure.
oh, and gain some confidence
Sure.
how that's done. And of course, you look at the syntax. You look at how that sentence fits into the whole paragraph, which is something you see in a lot of churches
I
now.
I don't think a lot of people know, Lewis. I actually have a minor in Koine Greek
Okay.
uh, from my studies, and I will tell you, a lot of people don't understand that uh, old Greek, right? Not the modern Greek, but Koine Greek. A verb can have over 150 different endings, and they
Right.
can all mean a different thing within the action of the
Different
sentence. They
different
can be
person.
emphatic, they can be person,
Yeah.
and knowing how to interpret those from literal to emphatic to,
Right.
like for instance, I know that belief was more than just head belief. Belief had to be action
Right.
and heart, right? But it had
Yeah.
to have some action
Correct.
to it, or it was just head. So belief isn't just like you hear today, where I believe this.
Right.
You
There's
had to
something else
prove you
behind it.
believed it,
Yeah.
and proving it meant there was some substance and action behind that word. And so those versions you talked about, I guess the New International and NA and all those other ones really do kind of come really close
Yeah.
to
Holman
trying.
Standard's pretty good too.
Yeah, they're gotten some good versions out over the
Right.
years, right? But
So, good.
tough language. I went through 8
Yeah.
semesters of it.
I think Hebrew's worse, don't you?
Uh, I was so busy
Just
with Greek.
pronouncing Hebrew.
Honestly, I was so busy studying Koine, I didn't even mess with it. I got basic on that, but I didn't take all those deep Hebrew courses. I stayed away from them.
So all that you said, we just tell you.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. You
That's
don't have
fine. You
to.
already have it done. I don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
need to know
And
that.
so we look at that.
Okay.
We also look at other passages that say the same thing, which is also important. So you can get an idea of,
Right.
okay, Paul said it, James said it, Peter said, okay, well, must
So
be.
you can parallel
Yeah,
throughout, pull the parallels together.
that's correct.
Um,
Then they're historical. It's important to know, like for reading the armor of God, why are you using the whole business about the armor of God? Well, because Paul liked Roman soldiers. He was impressed by them, and they were the best soldiers at that time. And you
You
look at,
think about the analogies of today, right? He was
yeah,
using what he was
yeah.
looking at on a daily basis,
Everybody
and he
knew what
used
Rome.
that as an analogy.
I think
Everybody knew what those were
everybody knew what the Romans
and
wore.
what they
That's
looked
right.
like and
That's
how
right.
strong they were with it. That
Yeah.
makes total sense.
And so you look at the history uh, as it pertains. You just look at the social. What were people doing back then? And
Right.
some of the passages make sense. How they interpret certain phrases. For instance, if you look at Titus, Cretans are all liars. Well, why did he say that? You know, why was that quote put in there? Well, they were.
Yeah.
Crete history is pretty interesting. A bunch of
And
backstabbers and all kind
and
of
and
stuff.
I was going to say a lot of people don't understand that understanding the historical background
Oh yeah,
of
it's
why
important.
a book was written at a certain time and what the message was based on understanding a little bit of the history,
Who the
right?
audience is.
And so a lot of people, don't focus on that, right? But
Yeah,
there's some really good understanding of why people acted or said the things they did depending on what they were going through at the time, right?
I
The
think
cool
so.
thing to me is there's still towns named after like Thessalonians is Thessalonica,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you still have those active cities in Greece that are still there and thriving. Not all of them,
that's right.
but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, and we look at like First Peter. You look at First Peter, you see that list of the list of places
Hmm.
he's talking to,
Hmm.
and then you look at who he was talking to at the day of Pentecost, and you see a lot of the same areas. This is an area that didn't really that probably never saw an apostle, and yet it appears to be full blown.
Right,
Christians going like gangbusters. So
right.
it's a kind of you want to look at some of those things when it's important. Um,
And this is all at the gracenotes.info. So
that
we're
it
going to
is.
encourage everybody to go over there. Take a look at that after the show. Bookmark it. Support these guys. Go to that PayPal button
Sign up for the
and
lessons.
sign up
Start
for lessons.
studying.
Because remember, everything on the site is free. If you want to donate, that's up to you. We
Yeah.
just encourage you to do so, and it's for a good cause. Okay, so and your blog is under the directory button
Yep.
on that site. So if you want to read what Lewis says, just click that directory button or director button
Director's
on
blog. Yeah.
director's blog and go check it out. All right, so we were into lesson plans and how's the site broke down overall? What is it by topic?
Oh,
Is it by new old? Is it
I'm glad
past?
you brought that up. Sometimes in the lessons, we'll stop and go look at a topic. For instance, the faith rest principles. How can you have rest? How can you have rest? And then you look at the wilderness generation, and they never got rest. If you remember Ephesians 3 and 4, they were not allowed to enter the rest because of their disobedience. Well, how do you get rest? How do you get comfort? We also look at occupation with Christ, another great article.
How your job matters.
Yeah.
What how is work related to your relationship
Oh, I
kind
think
of stuff,
so.
right?
I think the parable about the talents is really important.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Everything, life's not fair.
Life's not fair.
We're all given
But see,
different things.
and I think that's part of what we try to get the truth out of people is that I hear people saying all the time that's not fair,
Oh yeah.
and I wonder where did you learn that?
Well, you said it as a kid to your parents, I imagine.
Well, the cake, your brother got a piece of cake with more icing, so it wasn't fair, right? So
Yeah.
you learn something that's not true. Life isn't fair.
That's true.
And that's a great.
But the
I
rewards.
recommend anybody go read that parable and come out not thinking, God, that poor guys that got hired at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that one too. Yeah.
Got screwed on their pay compared to the guy that came the last hour and got double.
Yeah.
What's that all about, right?
Well,
yeah, I'm just kidding.
A loving God. Yeah.
I understand, but my point is that there's some deep lessons in these that are on you don't see on the surface, right? And so that's good. So they are broke down kind of by where you can go back and find topics, or are they broke down, or you have multiple directories?
Well, let's say you start the Titus series, where you're going to go through probably 15 topics.
Okay,
that's part of it. You go through Ruth, you're going to go through a bunch of topics.
Right.
Kinsman redeemer type of thing, and all those things that have to do with that whole episode with Boaz and all that. There's a kinsman redeemer, and it's a type of Christ, and so we go over that.
Right.
So you see that, and you understand how God left these markers so that the Jews would say, "Oh, I recognize that. That's that. Okay,
cool."
And so we look at that stuff. So the topics we probably have. I didn't count them, but they look like there's 100 of them.
And so
it's a long page, yeah.
Yeah. So and plus you have a lot of opinions on it. You have a lot of people that are sharing their thoughts on it. So you've got this conglomeration of all this great material.
Yeah.
There to read and try to understand it, right?
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have actual book recommendations on there? Is it strictly just notes from different people supplying them to the site to you guys?
These pastors who did their sermon series,
and then they're all placed and agglomerated on the site.
Right.
That's awesome.
So we have a lot of contributing. We have a few contributing editors. The Genesis one is good. There's a new one, by the way. If people want to go through the Bible in a year, we have a Through the Bible in a Year, and so you listen to the audio and you read the notes, and you do the quizzes. And I'll guarantee you that anytime you go through the Bible in a year, you'll be blessed.
Yeah.
And so that's brand new.
And it's not that hard to do if you stick to it.
No. You're reading quite a bit.
I know you
But
are.
the fact that you listen to the audio, boy, you pick up a lot of things.
Just stay away from the thee, thous, and shalt version, okay? It'll mess up your head, right?
But I think Through the Bible is a good thing for people just to jump into it. It's not part of the lessons. It's not part of the units. It's kind of option thing, and you just request it and you can start.
Now, we talked a little bit about this. Talk a little bit more about the methods in Grace Notes. What's the advantage?
These are Awesome Bible Church is a doctrinal church.
Right.
It's a dispensational church, and so they go through and they go, well, in order for me to understand this passage, I need to know the exegesis. I need to know the guy who's preaching.
I know what it is, but explain exegesis.
It's the way you
break it down.
You break it down.
Break it down.
So these guys know all that. Yeah, break it down, right?
Break it down.
So these guys know that. They know Greek.
Right.
They don't really look at commentaries because
they go into their lexicon and they go into their.
They're so grounded in the Greek they don't need to.
Yeah, I get it.
So you look at that. Then you look at other passages that say the same thing. You look at if the Greek's important, of course, you discuss it. You look at the history. You
Right.
know, why are you doing this? Who's the audience? Who are you writing to? For instance, if you're in Corinth, well, what's the seaport like? How are those people different? Than say
Hmm.
Antioch? And so you've kind of gone through this very thorough. Yes, you takes you a while to go through the book of say Romans, but man, you've looked at all kinds of other stuff,
Right.
and you've learned how everything kind of comes
Melds
together,
together.
including anything in the Old Testament that
Hmm.
proves or is already predicted. If that if you're doing any
If you're
kind of
following the prophecy trail,
right, if you're following the prophecy trail,
and you want to see how everything correlates till today and see what's happened and the benchmarks and the
right.
markers
Now
there,
we
you've
also
got
have a
that.
foundation series in BMI,
Okay.
kind of help you do your teach you
Okay. Cool.
rudimentary exegesis,
Yep.
rudimentary hermeneutics. Not hard,
God, you're bringing up things I don't even want to do anymore.
but these are meant for people who are just starting off, and so
Right.
that's why we use BMI
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. And it really does work. Great place to write notes and let
Yeah,
your authentic journaling just start running with your thoughts
well,
and your flow.
learn to
Right.
diagram. Learn to do your own diagramming.
You just
Reminds you of school, huh? All right,
oh my.
but some of it is cool. Some people just want to be entertained. That's not great stuff. Great stuff is
Well,
it's learning.
if that's starting,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah,
Right. All right. So we got really about 20 minutes left. So the thing I really want to talk about is right now, how are you guys supported? What comes in? What do you need? Because this is your show. You need to let people know what they need to do, what you're looking for, and how
right.
you're supported.
We're looking to. I guess that kind of ties into some of our projects. I mean, sure, right now we're okay. You
Hmm.
know, we answer the quizzes. If we just didn't want to do anything else, we'd be all right. But we don't want to be okay. We want to do audio versions of all the lessons.
Yeah.
We want to do audio. There are people who actually need audio, and so those things take some money, of course. Uh, there's missions in Africa and all that need support. Just the general marketing and advertising, of course,
Right.
those need some. And we would also like to start doing, if we can find pastors who are willing to do sermon series on this, we'd love to start putting video of a lot of these things because that also enhances
Yeah, I
it.
was going to ask you guys if there was a day where um, you could get a transcript transcribed with subtitles on videos and create kind of a YouTube
Well, my
environment for
vision is
lessons,
to,
or just put them on some sort of platform.
yeah, my vision is to just take a be portable,
Yep.
good camera, of course,
Yep.
and just have a switch so that you can toggle around
Sure.
in between the guy's
Hmm.
laptop and and
Hmm.
him,
Hmm.
and just go back and forth. So there's no editing whatsoever.
Right.
And the only guidelines they don't have to follow, they wouldn't follow exactly what's in there.
Yeah, that kind of good.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I noticed like some of the big thing that went through all the churches. It was so there, so limiting that you could tell they weren't comfortable doing it. I don't want it to be comfortable. That people can still answer the quizzes based on what you're preaching,
Right. Right.
you know.
Right. Gotcha.
But I think it'd be super if you could read it, watch the video, do the audio in your car. Man, you can almost have 6 touches on the material,
Right.
and boy, you would
And
really
since
be
a lot
far
of people are
along.
attracted to that audio
Yeah.
and also the video part, because that's a big part of the internet today, what a great medium to start having that slowly incorporated where you have that as part of your platform on Grace
Oh
Notes,
yeah.
right? By the way, the website is,
www.gracenotes.info.
go check it out, and go check out the director blog
Yep.
and read what Lewis has to say. I think that's cool. Now, budget. I don't want to get into the numbers, but what kind of supporters do you want? Do you want people, you just don't care about any kind of type of donation?
Well, right. You
Just
know,
come donate on your own, whatever that you can afford, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel led to
we
do.
we feel that exactly. We want you to pray about it. I mean, we know there's going to be big donors, and we know there's going to be smaller donors. Um, whatever God leads you to do will allow you to participate in this ministry.
Right.
Some people say, "Well, I can't do much." Well, you participate with what you. I mean, the
What you
Bible
can.
teaches that the lady with the little thing had Jesus complimenting her as opposed to the people that dropped the big coins that you could hear chunking, right? And so
Because she gave her last penny.
she gave her last penny. So whatever God leads you to do is okay with us. We're not
You want to have a cheerful giver, not a
yeah,
remorseful giver, right?
and give because you think this ministry has potential to change how people learn around the world.
That's cool.
Um,
So I'm going to tell you guys, if you're listening and whether you're listening to the live show or this will be on demand and it'll be ongoing, so you'll always hear this message. Please go to gracenotes.info. Realize they're under the umbrella. What was the church again?
Austin Bible Church.
Austin Bible Church. They're under the umbrella. They're 501c3. So as much as I hate to say this, don't give because you get a write-off. Give because you want to, but you do get to take advantage of that being a 50c3 because that is a right of donation under that .org or that nonprofit designation.
That's what it's there for.
That's right. That's why 50. That's why they're a 501c3, and it really supports these guys and helps them decide what they're going to do next. Right. So, what about future projects? Deep stuff. Like I know we talked about video, we talked about audio. What else? I mean, is the goal to branch this out to as many pastors and groups and you can?
Obviously, we want people using the material. I also want to do some foreign translations. I feel like
now isn't in DeSoto, you were in Fort Worth, down in DeSoto or Cedar Hill. Isn't the Wycliffe? Don't they have the have the transcribe? I know it is.
They do
the translations.
Bibles. Yeah, right. Bibles, right.
Are they folks that would be willing to help on this, or?
We had some conversations, and they stopped talking. First, they wanted to do it for me, which I thought was all right, and then I didn't hear from them.
Okay, so there you go. So see, I didn't know that. I just bring it up. I just remembered them as being that. So translation. So people can volunteer their time to help with that if they want to,
or just pay for it, just to get it done.
Yeah, or just write a big check.
It's not cheap.
Write a big check. No, transcribing and any kind of transcribing is not cheap.
They charge by the word.
I know.
And if it's not
same thing on video,
Yeah, if it's not Latin based, it goes up.
Yeah,
like Chinese
it goes
writing,
really up.
Or Arabic, right? Yeah, it all goes up. But you know what? I mean, suppose you had the Doctrine series in Arabic. Well, now anybody in those lands can find it.
Yeah.
And they can read it and read the truth, or Ukrainian, or Chinese, or
That's good.
Imagine they stumble on it while they're doing. I know they don't have Google and all that in China, but I'm sure they find ways to find stuff.
I'm sure information gets to them some way, and hopefully. Now, question. And this is not on the list. This is a Hurdy Burke question.
Hurdy Burke question.
And that is, if of all the things that you'd like to see accomplished with this, what is the one thing that would just make you go giddy?
One thing, huh?
Or two things, or three things. Just tell me some things that would really just make you go, woo!
Well, if all of Unit 1 was done in audio, if we had all that complete, boy, that would be...
Okay, so audio is super important.
Super important.
Okay, next.
As is video.
Okay, so video is important.
Yeah.
All right, and then 3. Anything else?
Yeah, I would like to see a Spanish translation down the line.
Okay, so Spanish translation.
That would be the easiest to verify.
So, okay, people listening on the show and on the on-demand, if you want to help with the audio, the video, and or want to help with the Spanish translation, they would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay.
So we just put your wish list, and ask people when they listen to this and they hear this that they might feel they want to be involved.
Well,
the one thing I wanted to ask you was, what's the best way to contact you?
It's on the website, email.
Okay, so just go to the contact page. Is there a contact page where they just click it and fill in the script and send
lroth@gracenotes.info.
And it's just a link to it and your email?
Your email thing will pop up.
Okay. So you just go to the website if you want to contact Lewis and go to the contact page.
Sounds good.
And send him an email. That's the best way to get a hold of him.
It is.
Okay. So what is it that you do for Grace Notes? I know we talked about it, but what is your, tell me your daily, weekly role.
I am the face of Grace Notes right now.
Okay.
So we're still in a fundraising mode. I'm also overseeing all the future projects on the website. We want to get rid of some of the manual stuff that doesn't need to be there. If we double, we'd be in trouble. Yeah.
And being a programmer, and you're also, you told me before the show, you're in the process of converting this over to WordPress to get it into a mode where you can change templates out fairly simple and
Sure.
get it organized. So you've got an ongoing project there.
We have an ongoing
And
project
again,
there.
I'm reaching out if anybody wants to help Lewis with this
Oh
on
yeah, let us know.
WordPress, and he would like to talk to you because it wouldn't help to have more than one hand on it. But it
Yep,
gives you the opportunity, I guess, to really look at it, manage it, and have control over it. And that's really what you're saying,
that's right.
right? All right. So what I miss?
Well, just to recap, if we're not here to replace pastors or anything like that. Like, you would like to, gain spiritual maturity. You know, if you think about Luke, there's a parable in Luke about the house on the sand
Hmm.
and the house on the rock. Uh, me, like it was meant to get closer to God before the storm hits, than while the storm hits. That's that was I heard that in Luke 6,
So
and it,
so you're saying,
do it now.
do it now.
Yeah, do it. Get
Are
on
you
your
are
own.
you saying that there's an urgency to this?
I'd say there's always an urgency
Oh,
because you
okay.
never know when life's going to throw curves at you.
Right.
And if you have sound doctrine embedded in you, and you intake sound doctrine, then you're going to be better able to handle things. You want for God to go, and um, because you've gone into the doctrine, you're set. You're ready to go. You won't like it.
Right.
I'm not saying you like it, but I think you'll be better prepared for life.
Well, I think that people need to realize it did it. But there we are. I think that people need to realize that the right is the right time. Look at that. So it's still recording, I promise. But uh, we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
All right. So here's the thing. I want to thank you for being a part of the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network. I think you've got a great tool here. I mean, I dove into it some this weekend. I was just like, wow, this is just reminds me of my old days of study on this stuff, and
Except
just
it's free.
except it's free, and it's like just total engulf yourself in this,
Right.
and just plenty to journal from and look at. So, I mean, just be aware that it's a great place. So we want you guys to go check out gracenotes.info. We want you to go look at Lewis's blog, the directory blog. We want you to contact him if you're interested in helping with audio, video, or Spanish translation. And if you're WordPress and you feel like you're led to jump in and help him with that, he'll be the guide, but he'll give you some marching orders, right? So he knows
That's
how to
right.
keep up with it, right? And definitely, if you want to donate, there's PayPal, which is a
There's a
great way to donate, secure. You can just click on there, and make a donation. I'm pretty sure it's got some different amounts you can pick and choose from,
right.
right?
It's
So,
there's a link,
okay.
and it explains our philosophy about giving and all that.
And I think that that's awesome. And I think that I've often said that, there's a lot of people think that a ministry, God's going is he gave us a mind and he gave us a conscience and he gave us some work ethic, right? So
Hmm.
use our brains. And so, nothing happens without action.
That's right.
And in action right now is a great site that's getting ready to get a lot better with a lot of great information. And look at this, pastors are probably using those to come up with some of their sermons at some of their different Bible churches. I know that whole DTS group that comes out of Dallas Theological Seminary, and what other places that they come into these Bible churches, are very well educated out of their seminaries.
Yeah.
And they can go back and pull these notes and do topics and everything. Now, I used to teach support environment,
Hmm.
right? Is there information on there about, support groups for the depression, for the divorce? Is there information on there for
No,
people
it's just
going through stuff, or is it mainly
well, no.
it discusses those
It
things,
discusses.
but in the
It
biblical
leads you
way?
to say, hey, let's look at depression, figure out, this is
What's going on?
yeah, what's going on,
Okay.
why.
Now, um, what do you think about the show tonight, Jeff? On?
I had fun.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool, huh?
Yeah, it's my
Pretty
first
cool
one.
technology, and maybe I can teach you guys how to use this for your own stuff
Yeah.
too. So, all right. Any final words?
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And take a break and I sit down on YouTube. Then I go over and build your custom player.
Okay.
I'll send you embed code already pre-done. You can change just the parameters of the height and the width in it. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
But everything else, leave this. You can copy and paste and share anywhere you want, like on social networks,
Okay.
Twitter, on the Twitters and the G pluses. And I have a feed burner that as soon as this is finished and it's on YouTube, it's automatically on my news feed.
Oh,
And I'll
wow.
send you a link to that too.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Yeah.
So, guys, thanks for listening to the Hurdyburg Broadcast Network. We'll see you guys. Actually, I'll probably have a sponsor on this Thursday night. That's to be announced. So I've gone to 2 shows a week now because
Wow.
we've had 20 shows in January. I didn't have any room for the sponsor shows, and I have 10. We're going to have 10 Thursday night shows coming up to spread out, so my sponsors get to come on as
Get
part of their
something, right?
sponsorship and get a show that they can put up. So it's fantastic. So we'll see everybody next week, Tuesday night around the corner. You've been listening to the Hurdyburg Internet Broadcast Network. Good night, and we'll see you Thursday night, same time, same bat channel here on YouTube. Good night.
All right.